Welcome back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity 2. So, it's not just that I have this on my hard drive, it's also just... PoE 2 is not very optimized because it's Unity, which... Unity has its pluses and minuses. Hopefully if we get Pillars 3, and I'm not just talking about Avowed, they move to an in-house engine. Because most Obsidian games' problems stem from, using other people's engines. New Vegas, KOTOR 2, I think ran on the same engine as the first one. Icewind Dale worked fine. God. Alright. Today, we're just heading right to Neketaka. Because that's where the game is pointing us. That's where we're going to get a lot of quests, presumably. Deadfire Merchant. Hopefully we can also get, some ship upgrades. I mean, Neketaka is, the hub city at the center of the archipelago. So, one would hope. I need to use Empower more often. Especially for crowd control abilities. So, if you want an idea of how garbage the games industry is, and by that I mean the cancerous money suckers who make the decisions, not the creatives. This game was considered a commercial failure. On Steam, it has 9,000 reviews after 3 years. Heart of the Deadfire. Pillars 1 has 12,000 after 6 years. Actually, I'm noticing a lot of stuttering. What the hell? What is going on here? Oh, my CPU is not that great, that's why. As you walk down the dock, your approach is noted by a cadre of heavily armored Almala. Their leader briskly leads them to intercept you. The harbor master looks you up and down with pursed lips. She looks past you toward your ship.
You're far from home, farmer. How did you make it all this way in your little boat?
The Almala cranes her thick neck to look along the whole of your ship. Her expression conveys equal portions incredulity and pity.
Why do we gotta be farmers just because we're from Deerwood?
Are you a farmer?
Yeah, but you can't just assume. We got rabble-rousers too.
As her attention returns to you, the Almala's mood becomes more formal.
I'm the harbor master, Koha. I must ask your reason for docking in Neketaka.
Berth has tasked me with finding Aethys. He's walking across the Deadfire looking for luminous Audra. The harbor master and the women and men with her look to each other in shock and amusement.
Is that so? Well, Andra told me to protect the harbor, and Wodika herself signed the order. They would have had Gallowayne do it, but he was sick this morning.
The assembled guards roar with laughter and clap their harbor master on the back for her joke. Deep within you, you feel an uncomfortable roiling. You can't be certain if the sensation is physical or spiritual, but it immediately induces nausea and fills your ears with the sound of blood rushing through your head. Cutting through the din, you hear a familiar woman's voice speak. Each word comes slowly, following with what sounds like the chiming of a small bell.
Show them. Show them what you are.
I am a watcher and the herald of Berth. The whole dead fire is in danger. Please let me pass.
I've heard enough. There's no room for you in Neketaka Harbor. Get back on your ship and head back to open sea.
The harbor master gestures toward your boat. The men and women behind her nod and murmur in agreement. The nausea continues to build inside you, blood pounding against your skull. Again, the woman's voice. Again, the chimes.
I will help you.
What's the matter with you? What are you doing? If you're trying to scare us with some cipher mischief, save the purple flames for the tribes of the Outer Islands.
The roar in your head begins to abate. The ringing of the chime becomes clearer, rhythmic, 2 successive peals, followed by a brief respite. You realize the chime is ringing in tandem with your heartbeat. You open your eyes. The harbor master is gesturing wildly, presumably to get your attention, and yelling in your face, but you hear no words, only the ringing of the chime as your heart rate slows, and slows, and slows, and slows.
What is this?
Run for it!
Everybody saw that, right? It wasn't just me.
No, Jyoti, they were running and screaming for a completely unrelated reason. Queen's Berth. I've got a lot of shops around here.
I shop.
How much cash do I have on hand? Not a lot, right? Oh, wow, I need to liquidate. Holy crap, I need to liquidate.
And now Port Marche is behind us.
It is not as easy as it
Focus will be
seems
a
to turn a
relief.
profit in Neketaka, but there is opportunity.
Wealthy gentleman. I heard what you did on the docks. What a trick.
Care for a fish or two, stranger? Today's catch. Ripped straight from the hands of the salty wench.
The fishmonger lets out an accomplished
You'll
sigh.
find no fresher. Have a look.
Alright. Let's sell some gemstones that I'm not using. This agate. These garnets. Vessel bones and some leathery wings. I'm gonna hold on to that white Audra. I'm gonna hold on to that in case that becomes useful for someone. I'll go ahead and sell the fine mail armor. Alright, now I have some money at least, but we're gonna have to look for jobs.
Welcome! Venturing out past the city. You'll want supplies, crab traps or the like for larger game, I warrant.
Merchant sizes you up and nods. Let me see what you have.
Take your time.
Clay grub figurine. Unguent of animalism. +2 athletics, +2 survival. Holy crap, the pelts are worth that much? Oh, it's just... yeah, discount on items being 0. Alright. You're named.
Dora must think I work for free. Be with you in just a... almost had it. Damn your eyes.
The sun-scarred dwarf gingerly picks at a splinter in his thumb, muttering.
Hazard of the work, really.
He gives up with a frustrated grunt, shaking his hand.
Came in on the sloop? I can hammer your ship together if you're apt to pay me for it.
Zamar bares his teeth and grinds them hard enough to sound over the noise of the dock. Having trouble with a client.
Aye. Captain Redora hasn't paid me for her commissioned firepower.
Zamar pulls at the end of his beard and winces.
While I'm up to my nose in debt, the wild mare gobbles up her coin. And now, pirates are holding my feet to the fire over some sham of a deal.
Zamar winces and tugs harder on his beard in self-administered punishment.
If I don't get Redora's payment, I might as well start carving my swallow net.
What kind of deal are these pirates
One
offering?
where I mend Principe ships and no others.
Zamar pulls his hair back from his face with both hands, but it only returns to, to its tangled configuration.
And here I'd have thought a shipwright would be eager for an exclusive contract. In particular, one with clients disposed towards getting their ships shot to shit and shot again.
Folk like that come by coin easy, only to lose it all again. I'm not sinking my business on the say-so of a pack of puffed-up bilge rats. Bastards are driving away business until I give in.
If it gets me a discount on your labor, I could hunt down Redora.
You do that? A fair price goes without saying, Cully.
Zamar untangles his hand from his beard to link his thumb and forefinger with a wink.
It all comes down to blasted pans and pyres in the end, doesn't it?
Zamar spits toward the dock pilings and glances back at the work still to be done. Well, I'd like to see your goods for
Take a
now.
look.
Oh, we can upgrade the ship type from here. It costs a ton, but it's here. Cool. But I do want that discount and also to have some money. Dog. 11. Plus 1 intellect for the party. Did you arrive on the Huh.
I'll handle this.
Interesting that people noted our boat. Repair supplies and pry bar. And we're capped out on repair supplies. Alright, let's check out Rebero's fine fashion.
Need a fresh jacket or pants? Something more delicate? If you have a frame, I can fit cloth to it without fuss.
The tailor eyeballs your shoulder width, doing some mental calculation.
Take your time. I'll give you space to browse.
So you have Barteran's cover. Grants steeled in darkness in the cape slot. During nighttime, this aura grants all nearby allies, excluding wearer, a bonus to their stealth skill and resolve. Huh. Bardwina, an Orlan warrior from the Fisher Crane tribe, served Air Glanfath with distinction during the War of the Black Trees. He was infamous among the encroaching soldiers of the Deerwood for his rapid, daring raids into the hearts of their outposts, primarily under the cover of darkness. Bardwin's cloak, much like its former owner, is a practical thing. Dirt, moss, and blood have made the simple homespun garment into a mottled mosaic that seems to disappear amongst the rocks and trees. The frayed hem is silent, even when drawn over stone and dry leaves. With the Glenfathan defeat at the end of the war, Bardwin and his most loyal followers made their way to the Deadfire, where they plundered merchant ships for many years. This cloak is all that remains of the fabled leader. And otherwise, it does seem to be strictly cosmetic stuff. And a cloak of deflection. Don't care enough to invest in those. Oh. Oh, hey!
Watcher. Tiverus. Is it really you?
Hey, I know those feathers. Palagina.
It's been ages. But
What's happened to your armor?
You two know each other? I mean, I wouldn't be jealous if you did.
Jyoti's eyes flick back and forth between you and Pelagina. She bites at her bottom lip but says no
Know
more.
this last cap? Oh, I weren't aware you favoured feathers.
Pelagina's mouth hangs open in shock. Though her hair and feathers have the same immaculate grooming as when you last saw her, her breastplate's 5 suns have been carefully scratched off. She looks down at the armor and back up at you with a pained glance.
I'm sure that even at Cadnua, you must have heard what happened when I returned to the Republics.
I did. I'm sorry things didn't work out for you. She glances away and gives an appreciative nod. You can see the muscles in her jaw clenching as the seconds pass.
The Republic survived. That is the most important thing. And here the company's business seems to be getting on fine without my interference.
Are you working for the Valiant Trading Company now? A pathetic laugh escapes her lips. She turns her gaze down, shaking her head.
No company associated with the Dukes will employ me now. I get by working as a ship guard. At least I can be among my people, even if they look down on me.
I could use your help, Pelagina. I'm hunting down Aethys. Her eyebrows arch, the membranes of her eyes sliding out and back as the weight of your word hits her.
I suppose I should not be surprised, considering all we went through. But no, I will not be coming with you, Watcher. I would be lucky if I wound up dead.
Come on, things didn't turn out all that bad.
Chorus, Watcher.
The mixture of sadness and anger flashes over her face. It is quickly replaced by her familiar calm expression. She nods once and then turns to go.
And safe travels to you.
Seraphim strokes his braided beard beneath a quiet smirk. Is this because I didn't do her quest entirely? Or is this entirely because... Okay. There's a cobbler down there, road south, Valiant Trading HQ, Wild Mare, Peddler's Canal, Map Emporium. I guess these estates wouldn't be a bad place to look for merc work. Poor Attila's brought up all the old finery he could, as if we can't tell. Scribe, ship hunter, spellwright.
We're full up, I'm afraid. If you're looking for lodging, you'll have to hope there's room at the tavern.
The family scribe offers you a pleasant smile, but seems preoccupied by other matters. You rent rooms.
We do indeed. Forgive me if I mistook you for a tenant. There are quarters set aside upstairs. Passers-by with a bit of extra coin will find a welcome cot and a meal. This is a temporary measure, of course.
She clears her throat and glances away. Why rent rooms at all, much less for short-term stays?
It's not my place to share the dealings of the Valera family, but this is all rather public.
She frowns and glances around the house self-consciously.
Suffice it to say that a family in want of coin might find alternate means of securing their finances. In the case of this estate, that means renting the occasional room. No shame in making a practical sacrifice. But I've said enough. Speak with Otello if you have business with the Valera household.
She beckons you on in an anxious, urgent manner. How's business?
Well, as they say, business can always be better, yes? I'm sure I needn't bore you with the details.
Who's in charge here?
You'll find Otello Valera upstairs in his study.
Farewell. Weird. Turning a manor into a bed and breakfast type.
Looks like something.
Oh, hello. Scrolls of Ray of Fire and Fan of Flames. Hey, they're not marked as stealing. Dead Fire Lines. Someone has scrawled the lyrics to a traditional sailor shanty on this ragged scrap of paper. I found my spine on the dead fire lines. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. From a deerwood babe to a sailor, fine. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. The dead fire routes, they make good time. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. Clear wide straits and inlets fine. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. Oh, they're the lines where you can shine. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. They're the lines where I spent my prime. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. Just take a port to Mage. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. To Port Mage where the sailors stay. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. Then Valiant captains you'll see there. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. With their knee-high boots and fine dark hair. Hurrah for the dead fire lines. Around Cape White to Port Mage, hurrah for the dead fire lines. Around Cape White is a long damn way, hurrah for the dead fire lines. Around Cape White with a high sail set, hurrah for the dead fire lines. Around Cape White and we're wringing wet, hurrah for the dead fire lines. Well, if we drown when we are young, hurrah for the dead fire lines. It's better to be drowned than hung, hurrah for the dead fire lines. Oh, hey, Alaf.
Thank you again for maintaining my story in front of Vanessa and the others.
He gives you a grateful smile that fades almost as quickly as it
I
appears.
didn't enjoy deceiving them, but it seemed simpler than the alternative.
Hands on his hips, Seraphin grins, and Jyoti flicks her sickle back and forth, agitated. Are you still thinking about Vanessa?
I realized there could be nothing between us. But it was nice to have a friend all the same.
I thought we were
You
friends.
stood with me through more than anyone I've ever known.
He clasps his hands together, working his fingers into a tight knot.
But a lot has happened over the last 5 years.
So tell me.
After we parted, I set out to destroy the Leaden Key.
Adair seems pleased.
It's controlled us for too long. I wanted to free Kith from it. So for 5 years, I've been tracking down Leaden Key circles, searching for the places where they operate in secret.
He knits his brows. Seraphin snickers quietly, and Jyoti nibbles on her lips to hide a spreading smile.
Trying to undo them.
You're doing the right thing, don't forget it. He gives you a wan smile.
The task has been more difficult than I anticipated.
How so?
I don't think I fully understood the weight of the decisions I would have to make. Or the burden of living with them. It was much easier when I only had to follow someone else's lead. My father's, Theos's, yours.
He glances at you out of the corner of his eye. Yeah, easy, sure. I led you right into the prison of the gods.
What matters is that you got us out again.
He laces his fingers together, a familiar look of anxiety working its way over his face.
After we defeated Theos, I thought the hard part of undoing his work would be tracking down the Leaden Key's members and operations.
And maybe add an address book. Too bad he burned his robes. He gives you an appreciative smile, but his mind is clearly elsewhere. Adair gives a nod. Positive with Adair, Seraphin, and Jyoti.
Perhaps this would be easier with an example. I went to a village in Old Avelia. A run-down backwater of a place. Centuries ago, the Leaden Key had intervened to end some heretical cult. The details were lost, but what had endured was a practice of ritual bloodletting. A gruesome, pointless tradition.
You got an eye for charming little towns, I'll say that much.
At every full moon, the villagers would feed the soil with their blood. No one, young or old, sick or hale, was exempt.
They must have had some purpose in mind.
Yes, but the specifics depended on whom you asked.
Adair positive.
Some thought it would ward off Scan, or bring Berth's favor on the village, or Gon's blessing to their crops. The village priest administered the practice. Grim old fellow. Reminded me of Theos. He was a tyrant. I was certain that if the villagers were free of his influence, they'd be free from the bloodletting too. So I arranged for him to have an accident.
Clever.
I thought so. At first. The old man died. and the villagers were terrified. They were convinced his death was an ill omen. They blamed it, and every other mishap that befell them, on their lack of faith. So they began bloodletting every week, turning on their neighbors for giving too little. Instead of a handful dying each year, a few perished every week.
He's worked the edge of his sash into a tight knot. He clenches it between pale, rigid fingers. You couldn't have known that would happen. This isn't your fault.
I had to do something, didn't I?
He turns to you with wide, anguished eyes. He pauses again, untwisting the sash at his hip lap.
I keep wondering what I might have done differently, or how I could have known better.
The villagers chose this. They're to blame here, not you.
I suppose so. Thank you. It's a relief to share this burden. You've given me a lot to think about.
Wait, you haven't told me what the Animancers had to do with any of this.
Ah, that. I'm looking for an old Leaden Key sect. I've found several references, but...
Breaks off, shaking his head.
I want to be sure. Please, let me go over my notes again. Then I promise I'll tell you everything.
This isn't about your notes. You're second-guessing yourself. Again.
You know me too well. All the same, I need to gather my thoughts.
Well, we'll talk more later, then. Started...
You told me a few years ago that I'd end up following you on another crazy errand. I'd have said you were out of your mind.
He gives you a dismissive gesture with his pipe hand.
Not because I got anything against you, more that trouble seems to come looking for you wherever you go. Yet, here we are again, probably on our way to die. Well, you already did, but me, I mean...
Yeah, I couldn't be having all the fun by myself.
Well, real nice of you to share. Someday I'll have to get you a gift. And wouldn't you know it, this time is shaping up to be crazier than the last one.
There's something accusatory behind Adair's eyes.
I gotta say, I appreciate how you've handled things. Times like these, staying decent's not as easy as it sounds. Thought you were weird at first, of course, but you've surprised me.
And there's no point to any of this if I have to sacrifice my beliefs.
There's something to that. I like to think I'm the same way. Except I chose to believe in the goodness of a giant statue that kills everything it passes. Sometimes I have second thoughts about that. I've been meaning to ask, though. How is it you never seem to lose your way through all this? What is it tells you you're on the right path?
I have strong feelings on everything. I love the writing in these games. My confidence is an illusion I use to entice people into following me blindly. Mood. I believe in helping people who need it. Sometimes it's more complicated, but more often it's not.
Well, hard to argue with that. And I might get some strange looks if it did.
Gary heaves a sigh that sounds as if it's been building up for months. His smile is tight-lipped, wistful.
When I was a boy, things were simpler. Aethys was more like a character we read about in church.
Easier to worship a god when their worst traits are swept under the rug.
Yeah, I guess it was. Well, most stories had him helping folks or making the world work as it should.
He drops the smile and gently pointed finger of a coaxing parent.
You pray to him. He might help you too.
He lets the finger drop and the smile fade.
There's no cost to it. No confusion about his will or followers taken into extremes. Following Aethys was right. Had no reason to question.
He pauses. It could be the light, but the creases around his eyes and mouth seem longer and deeper than your memory of them.
Do you think there's any way that following him could still be the right path? After all we've seen?
Of course, even Berth wants us to follow him. I think the world deserves better.
Is that something we can ask for? Seems like the gods might take that personal.
Yeah, but what do they know? They're just mortals.
Anyway, I didn't mean for this to get depressing. I think this was just a long way of saying I appreciate the way you've guided things. Makes me feel like I'm doing some good, going with you.
He shakes his head with a look on his face like he just remembered a joke.
Yes, indeed.
I like how every building is stocked with guards because they knew that kill everyone runs would happen.
I'll take care of this.
Okay, Portal. Ramen rice wine. Alright, let's start with Artello.
A new
Or
face
Atello.
in the Valera holds.
Atello Valera's face is lined and weary, but his coat is tidily buttoned, his posture faultless. And at your service.
Courtly manners are welcome here.
He inclines his head.
My time is not inexhaustible, but I am willing to spare it.
He opens his palms and invites you to continue.
What can I do for you?
What does your family do for the Valiant Trading Company?
Valera ships escort goods and merchants from island to island across Deadfire. The Principe dogs show us their stern whenever they spot Valera colors on the horizon.
Leave it to a swabby from the Republics to think a pirate showing them their rear be a compliment.
Oh, can't ask about work, so farewell. Alright. Nothing doing here.
That fresh shat bare paws lump of lumber yonder. That be the misery's delight. Malnash's pus-stuffed canker of a boat.
He points wildly at a half-galley dock nearby. Only 2 hands hold the deck. The remaining crew may be below decks or they may be ashore. Who?
Malnash. High Queen Sea Devil of the Deadfire. Unfortunately, also the second best ship hunter around. After yours truly, of course. Doxy popped a hard-on and a half for hating me the tick I joined the Sorcerer. Romaro shielded me from the worst of her training. When they bountied him, I figured for sure the Rat Queen would be the first rat up the gangplank. Malnash be up in Romaro's head or I've never had a roll on the waves. She finds him for us. She'll sink him soon as sighted. Come on, Captain.
What do you want me to do? That's DLC. Right, okay, let's just...
Where is my posse? Cargo of a brother. You there? Have you seen Laro Badato?
Alright, let's see here. Misery's Delight. Malnage. Oh, find Romaro before her.
Magdico, where is that spoiled brat?
A woman in fine clothes clutches a ledger in both hands. She searches the faces of passers-by, settling on yours with an uncertain frown. It seems to be the problem.
Laro is past due for a company meeting. Mother wants me to drag the elusive louse back by his ear.
She tucks the book under her arm.
Must be nice to be a layabout. Uncle Engbert would have tanned my hide.
Fuck. I am angry and jealous in equal measure. You'd think this district was a maze, the way he manages to hide.
She glances over your shoulder and sighs, then looks back at you with a sudden recognition.
The spirit magnet? Sientere, that I did not recognize you. If you desire to get in the graces of the Valiant Trading Company, we can help each other.
What sort of clout do you have with the company?
Mother's bank commands the wealth of the Deadfire campaign.
Nira absently pats the cover of her
Could I
ledger.
persuade you to watch out for Laro? I'd pay generously for your trouble.
Study her hands. Nira's been digging her nails into her ledger, leaving crescent moon-shaped impressions in the binding. She notices your interest and holds the book protectively close.
I'm concerned because Laro tends to feud with Orso, one of the local Valera rats.
Why aren't you tearing the district apart looking for him?
Because, see, I only manage the family business.
She takes up her ledger with both hands, holding it like a shield.
Better to ask why Laro isn't sprinting back to look after his birthright.
What did you mean by Valera rat?
The Valeras. A brood of sea vermin playing at nobility. We squabble and compete, but Laro, the Pastenago, takes it too far.
Well, if I happen across Laro, I'll let you know.
I'll be waiting at the estate in case he happens to return.
Nira thumbs over her shoulder.
Laro and his miscreant friends carouse at the tavern, the falls above the Adra Mill, and the southwestern bridge. If you see him, tell Laro to get his good-for-nothing ass back home.
Well, we do have this thing with chasing a rogue god to the ends of Aora, but I guess if it's on the way.
Adair, we've been wandering the archipelago for like weeks now. We're taking a leisurely pace, and you can't play it after the ending anyway, so.
Oh, hello. Welcome to my shop. It's such a pleasure to see a new face.
Sansa bounces back on his heels, a wide grin plastered on his worn
How
face.
might I assist you?
What do you do here?
Oh, I am a cartographer. I make maps. I'm not half bad at it either. And may the gods forgive my immodesty for saying so. If you need a map of any settled region of the Deadfire, I am your man. And my commission rates are quite generous. It used to be I would take to the sea and do a bit of charting myself. But I haven't the time. Too many maps need making. A shame, too. There's a whole swath of the Deadfire I've yet to see. I'm quite keen to write a book, in fact. Oh, but I won't trouble you about that. Excuse my nattering on, won't you?
Nice dog.
You think so? He is a magnificent beast, isn't he?
Sansa's face splits into a broad grin, bright enough to light the room.
He's been a bit low lately. Between you and me, I think he's heartsick for the sea.
Do you sleep here?
Sometimes.
He touches a hand to his forehead and blushes scarlet from his neck to the tips of his ears.
Married to the work, you know? I just get so engrossed in my maps. And next I know, it's morning. Sharing a bed with a few maps is a good sight better than sharing with Caleb, I'll tell you that. He always hogs the blankets.
He rubs the back of his neck. You said you're writing a book.
I'm putting together an explorer's account of the Deadfire. Or at least the part of it Queen Onekaza's tribe has laid claim to. My book will be the first of its kind. The Explorers Club will go mad for it. Or, well, that was the idea. It's a fiercely dangerous enterprise, in point of fact, and nobody will agree to chart the islands for me. You'd think ship captains would be a bold-hearted bunch. I offered fair recompense. I'm not exactly the most powerful fighter, or I do it all myself. Still, wouldn't it be wonderful? An explorer's guide to the Deadfire. Someday.
If it pays, I'll take the job.
Do you mean it? This is... Wow! I can't thank you enough. It's a lot of ground, I mean water to cover, and some of these islands are in very dangerous waters.
Despite his words, the gleeful expression in Sansa's face is not faded.
Don't worry, I planned it all out. We'll get your feet wet first. With a little experience under your belt, I'm sure you'll get a taste for it. Nothing will stop us. I mean, you. The idea is to explore all the islands that haven't been charted yet.
Oh, this is a quest for uncharted islands. Got it.
You can't tell me you've never wanted to name your own island? I thought we could start with the waters around the company outpost at Port Magi. There are 2 islands in the region, and nobody's taken much notice of them yet. Once you're back, I'll start filling in my map and adding your findings to the book. Oh, this will be wonderful. Welcome back.
Alright, let's see. What do you have for sale? Adventurer's Grimoire. Those are all pretty standard. Lockpicks, which I will invest in. A spyglass would be really good, but that's a huge investment. And Pitfalls of the Deadfire book series. Yeah. Alright, so that'll be a way to earn some extra money, as well as I'm sure there's going to be quests or bosses on those islands. Luminous Audra Mill.
The Queen is holding court today with the Valians and Rowattians.
How long before they're killing each other?
Wager on it?
We've barely even explored this one map of the city, and we're 40 minutes in. Cortina's voice finds you before she does, her barks of laughter and cheerful directives resounding throughout the mill. She flits from worker to worker, offering critique and approval. When she finally spots you, a shadow of apprehension passes over her face. She hides it with a toothy grin.
If you are here about the taxes, tell the Queen... Oh, you are not the tax collector.
She narrows her eyes, her hand twitching at the hilt of her blade.
What business brings you to my mill?
Who are you? Cortina leans in close, one prodigiously furry eyebrow raised.
You go around asking just anyone in Queen's Berth personal questions. Maybe you end up dead in a ditch. Have caution, eh? Lucky for you, I am a woman of honor.
She gives you a sunny smile and claps her hands together.
I direct luminous milling for the Valian Trading Company. It's a nice job, huh? And I'm quite good at it. You want to know more? Buy me a drink first, per guano.
She claps you on the shoulder, a playful smile. What do you do here? Cortina looks around about the room with exaggerated wonder, her green eyes wide. She laughs to herself a little and runs a finger across the arm of the chair beside her. She holds the finger up for your inspection. It's caked in shimmering blue dust.
We mill luminous, of course. Take big chunks, break into smaller chunks, crush into dust-sized chunks. Per con plancanet, it is really not so complicated.
She gives you a condescending little pat on the arm. I need refined luminous Audra.
Huh. I need a large country estate and several handsome women to fan me with palm fronds. It is good for the heart to dream impossible dreams, yes?
She gives you a quick nod and laughs quietly to herself, her large ears twitching.
The Adra belongs to the Valian Trading Company, Aimika. Unless you plan to open a bathhouse to rival Ganor's in Periki's Overlook, we will take no orders from you.
Can you make an exception?
I cannot.
Alright, farewell. Dog. Abraham. Reduces recovery penalty for armor, varies by armor type. Oh, this is really cool looking, the waterfall running the mill. Oh god, Awoken is probably going to be a Creation Engine game because Bethesda owns both companies. Or Avowed. It's not Awoken, it's Avowed, I think. I'm concerned by the fact we've seen basically nothing of it. Like, they're not marketing it.
You're a follower of the light?
Light? Oh, you mean... well, depends on what you mean by follow.
Maybe you heard earlier? I follow Aethys too. Mostly, in a way. I mean, I am a child of the Dawnstars, even if firstly I'm a Gaunite.
That's good, I guess. For you.
Oh, maybe you don't want to talk about it. That's alright. Surely, some other time then. Was it the way I said it? Or maybe I'm in need of a washing.
Lord Admiral Imp. One level above us. Let's empower a noxious burst. Barbaric blow. Leap. Lower their guard. Oh, I can't do it out of combat. There we go, lower their guard. Let's cast a wall of flame. How do I aim that exactly? Actually, let's just set it down there. Disciplined barrage. Holy crap. Jody, get out of there. Or just... yeah, do that thing. Bounding missiles on the champions. Nice.
Hold on, lass.
Dang it. Oh well.
Tell me, that's not very helpful.
Alright, let's back off here. Just kind of beat on these guys.
What do you need?
Yeah, you guys can go ahead and work on the archers. Can you just back off?
Reached my limits.
Go ahead and Gon's pledge. Or just auto this guy down. It's fine, we can stand in it. It's only one wound. Alright. Lord Admiral Imp's head. Lord Admiral Imp's map fragment. This piece of tattered parchment shows the familiar waters and land masses of the Deadfire Archipelago, but without the other pieces, it's impossible to tell where it points or how to get there. A note is scribbled in the margins. Imp, guard parchment, yes? No giveaway. No try and sell. When other crew stink find you, follow them for treasure, yes? Good, Imp. Captain Henqua. You also got the Ibis Ring. +3 burn armor rating, +10 all defenses against fire attacks. Being critically hit with a fire attack will cause interrupt and give a -10 will penalty for 30 seconds. The ring was discovered at the home of the dwarf alchemist Nicolia Volk after her infamous disappearance. When her creditors scoured her house for valuables, the ring was sitting on the entry table. A small scrap of parchment next to it bore Nicolia's handwriting. It appeared to have been torn from a larger volume, possibly a diary. Where the birds sing a pretty song, it said. The band of this mysterious ring is of an unknown metal, but the stone set in the center is almost certainly jade. The gemstone bears an ancient pictograph depicting an owl. Paradoxically, the Ingwithan word for ibis is embossed around the band. Donning the ring briefly fills the ears with the sounds of birdsong and running water. Weird effect. Also a torque of intellect, which is just +1 intellect. So, like, it's a negative effect? Well, let's see. We'll have to see. If I even pay close enough attention.
Given me. It's pretty as a picture, ain't it?
What do you need?
Bunch of crap to sell.
I'll handle it.
Peridot. Oh, I need that for upgrading stuff, but I'm poor right now. District home. Let's start there, then head to the... What do we need to level up? Oh, 6,000. Got it. And then we'll make the inn the last stop for today.
Hey, I wanted to ask you something. It's about Shodi.
What did you want to ask?
She means well. I can see that. And she's spirited. If I was still young and didn't know the things I know, it'd be different. But anybody got that much faith in any god, let alone Aethys? I don't know how to talk to someone like that. Not these days. I get why she's like that. And I was there once, a long time back. But it's 'cause of that I can't see a way to respect it. I'm no good at hiding it from her either. I don't see this getting better.
There's more to her than you're giving her credit for.
Doesn't seem like she's any different than what she shows.
Well, first of all, she's a Dawnstar, but she doesn't worship Aethys. She worships Gon.
Same thing, really. That's just her trying to find a way to worship Aethys that makes sense to her. I guess that sounds familiar now that you mention it.
Subtle indeed.
Little money, aquamarine, warbow.
What do you need?
Meh.
Good thinking.
I don't have a voice for shanties these days. Too much salt in the air.
And I never looted these containers, is why I'm coming up here.
Take a minute of falsetto.
Oh,
Per
hello.
compagnet.
No sooner do you approach the Valian woman than she squints and turns up her nose, regarding with thinly veiled distaste.
I only deal with serious clients. Now shoo.
She makes a sweeping gesture with both hands. Excuse me?
Done. You are dismissed. Madiko. But it is impossible to find skilled work when every competent freelancer wastes their shore leave in the wild mare.
She grimaces toward the east.
When blood travels south of their brains, the value of a good bounty is forgotten.
You give out bounties. I could take some off your hands.
You, a nameless face of the streets?
She thumbs her chin and gives you a thorough looking over.
I do not make a habit of shepherding new talent, but there is a seed of potential.
She sighs to herself and peers over your shoulder before giving up and addressing you directly.
We will cut your teeth on Biakara, a Huana sailor and would-be patriot who plagues company ships.
Oh, you're for the company. I'll pass.
Complancanet. Do you hate money?
I'll help people who are associated with the company, but I won't help the company.
Do you enjoy coin, my friend? Can you lift a sword? Ado, my friend. I knew our paths would cross eventually.
Valian shouts over the din of the wild mare to get your attention, turning a great many heads to study your exchange. He takes a hearty swig of his tankard. I bet you say that to all of your clients.
No, you mistake me. I am not one of the courtesans. Tell me, you are the one who sails that fine ship, Ak? Terrorize the docks with spirits, Ak?
Leaning in close, he sips from the tankard and loudly sucks moisture from his upper lip. Please step away. The sound of you drinking in my ear is repulsive.
Sientere. I am Aboko, and I am positioned to offer... I have opportunities for...
He clumsily unfolds a sheaf of parchment. The tankard slips in his grasp and spills ale down the front of his trousers. He gawks down at himself in horror.
Sometimes I practice my speech. Merda. Never did it go this poorly.
Yeah, you can use another.
Agrasima. Do you know what my problem is, Anika?
He accepts the tankard and drinks deeply.
I am supposed to be in the business of giving bounties, but I know no one who hunts them.
He stamps his feet, kicking up a spray of spilled ale.
No one will unfurl their sail for my humble payments. But I must start from the bottom and work my way to the top, Ak?
What bounties do you have available?
You will take the job? You will take the job.
He grips you by the shoulders and smiles, tears springing to the corners of his eyes.
Agrasima. Something special for my first hunter, then.
He drains the tankard and tucks it under his arm to retrieve his sheaf of notes.
I will start you on Marian, the mad animancer. She tortures her victims with unspeakable treatments before casting what's left to Berth's will. My contact saw her leaving Port Maje and heading west of Maje Island.
Apparently I already killed her.
My first bounty to pay off. An exciting day for us both.
And that's just Neketaka reputation in general. Cool. 1,400 copper.
Maybe it's not much, but as I make more deals, more pyres will be available, Ak?
Seem down on your luck.
It is true that I have stumbled in my career path.
Abako clears his throat.
Now that I have such an accomplished hunter, I can stand in the long shadow of your success.
Claps you on the shoulder.
It's not all bad, but the momentum of meeting new clients over drinks and in such enchanting company, it drains the stamina, my friend.
What bounties do you have available?
I finally managed to land the rights to a bounty of value. You may not like it. There is a thirsty drake who roosts near an oasis northeast of Maje Island. An important site for refilling canteens. The local tribes call him Purakeo, after a sea dragon of legend. Even so, they have no love for this water thief. You have but to ask.
Okay. So we got a little money back. Let's talk to the captain.
You say I cannot down the rest? Watch me, Miko.
A Valian sailor raises her tankard and arches her back to invite a torrent of ale down her expectant mouth. Holding this pose with nothing to show for it, she taps the Tinker's base and furrows her brow at its apparent emptiness. Her companion shakes his head and focuses attention elsewhere.
It is no wonder I thirst.
As she wipes her mouth with the back of her hand, her eyes widen and meet yours.
Why do you stare?
Zamar sent me to collect your debt.
Merla, and he hired muscle.
Rodora takes a shaky step back.
Sientere, but you are too late to collect.
She holds out her palms and flinches at the blow that doesn't come.
In the northern alley stole every coin. I cannot hire a crew, much less repay Zamar.
Zamar is having some pirate trouble. Could this game be connected?
If they wanted Zamar to thirst for coin, it is possible. Botzos would regret it when I turn my cannons to their mast.
Rodora raises her empty mug as the vow is struck.
There's the cannons you'll be waiting for Zamar to cast you. Because I'll be seeing more holes in that plan than in any Principe mast's future or no.
His green eyes pry at her from over crossed arms. Why don't you tell me what happened?
Wizard lights drew me like a moth to the alley north of the wild mare. And the blow to the back of the head that followed, Merla, it hurt.
She touches a spot behind her ear and hisses.
Then a wolf sat on my chest while a group of thugs went through my pockets.
A wolf?
It growled like a thunderstorm and drooled on my uniform.
Rodora pats a stain on her shoulder.
I stumbled back here and traded all I had left for the comforts of the mare.
Sounds like my quarrel is with this gang. Farewell.
When you got their leader, tell them Radora sent you.
Well, that went better than I expected, honestly. I mean, this is just some thugs, so I feel comfortable just going and beating them up now. I mean, we're friggin' level 7. Of course, I don't know. I don't know the level cap, so I don't really know the intended scaling of power per level. Just in terms of, like, you know, what's a first level versus a second level. Like, as a 20th level, a god among men.
Blaming the Valians for attacking one of their ports.
Alright, here's the back alley. Yep, that's them. Principe Pistolier.
So she asked him what he calls that trick, and he says the Consueli. You the one causing trouble in Cotter's neighborhood.
The wolf at the man's side raises her hackles and growls. He shushes and pats her behind the ears, all the while keeping his focus trained on you.
I thought Remaro's pup kept better company.
Kata glances at Seraphim.
Ahoy, friend. So you still be doing that old referring yourself by name thing? Would have thought it'd have cost you enough lays by now to be dropping that affectation.
Cotter has not missed the sound of your voice, Seraphim. Your smoke and mirror ghosts do not impress Kaletzia, and they do not scare Cotter.
A line of drool drips down between the wolf's bared teeth.
Sorry, Valian names all sound the same to me. Which one is the pretty wolf?
You'll know soon enough.
Hannah finds them amusing, which is enough for Hannah.
Cotter likes you already. What do you want?
Someone robbed Captain Redora. You have anything to do with that?
Depends. You seeking Vengiata for that house?
She owed money to Zamar. Money I need back.
Cotter heard a newcomer was talking with Zamar.
His free hand moves toward the weapon slung on his belt.
On play, Cotter. Let's be keeping this a friendly fucking chat. Lest the captain be calling your raise.
His furred hands rest near his own weapons.
Look, Selezia. Your supper comes with blue fur.
Nudges the wolf, eliciting a deep growl.
Tell the shipwright to accept Cotter's deal before he suffers another setback.
Any thoughts, Seraphin?
You gotta ask, Cap. A Principe deal be the all-round winner?
The Orland shrugs, running a furrowed hand over his braided beard.
Zamar gets himself steady work. The pirates know they're looked after. And you and me get to shove off from this mess with a Principe favour in our hold. Charting another course risks running us aground of everyone's bad side.
Better that you listen to the hairy piglet. Kata will see that his casita knows your name. There's also coin to spare. Redora's coin. But she's too soused to miss it. And Kata will get you the Principe discount on Zamar's goods. Deal?
Alright.
Gelarde, here's an advance. Go tell Zamar the good news. Kata will handle the rest.
Like, Zamar is just a fool for not wanting to have that contract, because the Principe, sure, you know, they come in and out of money, but they come into money. And he gets regulars.
Ahoy there. Any news worth telling?
I spoke to the Principe on your behalf.
You actually confronted those feral cats?
Cool, cats be sacred, shipboard, you know? Wouldn't have taken you for one to be painting the Principe all godly.
Folks shoreside sometimes stick 'em in the stew pot. See if that strikes you for something weighty.
Kata's not a bad guy. His wolf is cute. I think you're better off taking their deal. Sighing through his nose, Zamar squeezes his eyes shut.
I needed coin, not a middleman to negotiate with cutthroats.
He pulls a small flintlock from his belt and holds it pointed at the ground. Redora hasn't got any money. The Principe are your own choice. His chest rises and falls with heavy breaths as he lifts the gun halfway.
Between my life and my dignity.
Gritting his teeth, he thumbs the hammer down and tucks the firearm back into his belt.
Principe have their shipwright. And may Andra take them for it.
He grabs a fistful of his beard and grunts, pulling away at it with a few strands of hair. Opening his palm, Zamar lets them drift away with the wind.
Again? Oh.
So that is a 10% discount, which is not a small amount considering the price of items here. I already have cotton weave sails. How does an anchor upgrade my combat speed? Whatever. Alright, while I'm thinking about it, let's offload the mundanes. Torque. And that'll be it for now. Alright. Tried the tavern. We haven't tried the bridge. Next time on Let's Play Pillars of Eternity 2, we're going to be checking another district of Neketaka. See you guys then.